Greetings. So I had some thoughts concerning looks being deceiving, and what's the title? I just looked at it. I don't know of any way of seeing what it is once you start the video to see the title. About, about not knowing and righteous judgment. I'm gonna back it out real quick and come back to it. I guess I already said it. Not being deceived. Not being deceived. Looks like that's my fault there. I'm a little bit slow. It's a little late. Not being deceived by what something looks like. What comes to mind is how often people say, "Don't judge." Well, "Don't judge me" is a common one, but I hear also "Don't judge," like don't judge at all. Or someone says, I don't judge you." It's incredible, because that's all people are doing. But it's for us, for believers, to not do that anymore, to do that evil judgment. But it doesn't mean don't judge at all. It doesn't mean that. When people say that, is that what they think of it? Just don't judge, period? So what are they speaking of? Where is it coming out of? Is it coming out of truth and understanding? Or is there a different intention and reason someone says don't judge, period, when they just say don't judge, like at all? Why is someone saying that? Where is it coming from? What's the reason in their own heart, and what do they say it means to not judge at all? Because Messiah teaches to judge with righteous judgment. Messiah also said to them, I have much to judge you concerning these things. And then I forget what he said right after, but he said, I have much to judge. So it doesn't mean don't judge at all. It's because the natural man cannot see the truth, cannot see even there being more than one thing, more than one judgment. Doesn't know what the good thing is, and therefore cannot know what the evil is. How does someone know what the evil is and how it works if they don't know what the good is at all? How? Then it's the evil is all someone knows then. And they don't know what it is. They can't truly know what evil or sin is without anything given from above, from seeking the Creator and seeking the truth and understanding of His Word and His commandments, laws, judgments. They can't know. I'm not speaking out of a good heart, out of good intentions, speaking out of wanting to shut someone up when people do that, to hide their sins. That's why that's going to be said most of the time, for that reason, and nothing to do with truth or understanding, and saying it with a purpose because they care about someone and want someone to have truth. That's not the reason that this world does that or does anything. It has the crooked intentions that are for self-gain and self-preservation always. Because someone doesn't even know what good is yet if they don't believe yet. They're not even born yet. So they don't know what the evil is either. If they did, then Adam and Eve wouldn't sin. They would see it, they would know it, they would care. They wouldn't want to do evil because they see what it is and see that it's evil. Then they wouldn't sin. Sinning is proof that mankind does not know what evil is and doesn't care at all, doesn't even believe he does evil. Someone doing something over and over again in unbelief with no change. I mean, the works prove that they don't know what it is, nor do they believe it's evil. It'll be justified. Someone will make up a justification on the spot so as not to be a sinner or wrong in any scenario or situation. It's just about the carnal man being right all the time and someone else wrong. That's all it's about in this world. It's all about pride and being right for self and someone else wrong to make self look better while trashing someone else. That's the goal. It's the intention. It's why people do things. And then they won't acknowledge they do evil works and break the Father's commandments all the time, daily. And Adam doesn't acknowledge it. Eve doesn't acknowledge it. This is the world we live in. This is mankind. No good, deceitful heart, desperately wicked above all things. Not even curable. It needs to be destroyed. Father doesn't cure evil. He destroys it and replaces it completely with good. It's not to be cured. It's not to be healed. His healing is seeing it is a real healing through destroying evil and giving us good things from him, his spirit, his life, and good works to do. More growth, understanding that that's what healing is. He heals. But healing is not understood through healing evil. It's through destroying the evil, cutting it off, as Messiah taught. Something about cutting it off and throwing it in the fire, destroying it, is true. To destroy your hand and cut it off is a destruction. So something about destruction is true spiritually. It's a destruction. It's not healing. It's not healing Adam. It's not healing the evil. That would be to support the evil. That would be to keep it alive. Healing evil means to keep doing evil. Preserve the evil. Don't let the evil die and be cut off. So it's backwards from what someone would think. So it's always deceitful what something sounds like and looks like by itself. And another example that came to mind was just the narrow way, a straight line, straight path. One narrow straight path, representing the true way, that it's a straight and narrow way. That's a difficult way, but it's narrow because it's such a narrow way with everything. To do good is a narrow way, splitting between two things right down the middle with like no room to spare. That's his way. It's impossible for man to keep of himself. But it's not up to anyone to do. That's called self-righteousness and rebellion. It's a denial through belief and denying self that he can make a way and gives a way for his people to actually start doing the impossible, because it's his works working in his people and it's not self doing it. It's a massive difference in the heart. It's the difference between good and evil. That's how much can't stress it enough. It doesn't sound like what the depth that it really is. You know, sometimes you say something and it doesn't sound big, but it's huge. Once again, because it's very deceiving. What something only sounds and looks like can't be judged like that. Can't go by what something sounds and looks like only. It never proves anything by itself. It could be that something that looks like sin is sin, or it could be something doesn't look like sin and it's sin. It has to be discerned every time for everything, which one it is. Otherwise, it's just an assumption, which is an evil work, which is going to be hypocrisy and condemnation coming out of the heart when it does that, because love doesn't do that. Assuming is zero care or love for the person. It's dumping something onto someone. False witness, it adds things, it takes away, it lies, puts in false evidence to make someone look like a sinner and a thief, a robber, a killer. It doesn't actually care in its heart about doing the Father's work and truth and keeping his commandments. It doesn't care about its surrounding. It only cares about itself, doing and being right, looking right all the time while someone else is wrong, and keep stepping and destroying people like that with its heart. There's two ways to go off the path, and there's no other ways to. So if a narrow way is pictured in someone's mind, a straight, narrow way, you can fall off to the left or the right. That's it. If you go straight, you're on the path, and that's the good way. Or you could fall off to the left or right. So there's the left extreme and the right extreme, and then there's the middle, the narrow way that splits right between two things. And are those two things on both sides together working as one? And it's a spiritual understanding, not carnal. So when someone doesn't have any understanding in something in his word, they will see something and think it works like that and think that it's true and proclaim some kind of lying teaching and lie. And someone else will be on the right side, and it's going to look a little different, but it's the right extreme. And then these two fight against each other for which one's better and right and more right than the other. And it's neither, because left and right is off the path, both equally. Doesn't matter what it sounds or looks like. If it's not on his way, it's sin equally. Left and right is sin to fall off the path. It's neither of those two things. It's neither of what people fight over. His way is not known by either side. His way is a narrow way with seeing two things at least working together. It's not faith or works. It's faith and works or none. It's faith and works or none. And to see a way for how this is true has to be given. It's not works on the left and faith alone on the right. It's both of them working together. But the understanding of what that looks like and is in someone's heart has to be given. Because even the words isn't the understanding. Even the words coming out of the mouth is not the understanding itself. It's explaining the understanding. It's the right words for something. If it is the right words and truth, then they're the right words. And that still isn't the understanding. It can't be done. It can't be shown in that kind of way. So then, you need pictures, parable, because it's the invisible things, not seen by carnal eyes and heard by literal ears. The actual understanding has to be given from above, or else it will not be seen within someone. They won't see how it's possible or how it's true. It'll be a contradiction in their own mind and heart. And then they'll proclaim that the truth is the lie because they can't see. And because of pride, because it doesn't want to be wrong. That would, if what someone is doing is a lie, that means they're a liar and wrong. And that's not a very good picture in their mind. It scares someone to be a fraud, to be a deceiver for decades. Scare someone. Can't repent. No. And yet we read repent. Someone does have to repent, but the natural man can't repent. That requires mercy from above. Belief. Faith is a gift. And yet someone needs to repent. But will they? How would someone know? We even read, perhaps if he grants repentance to someone, knowing how it works and the sovereignty and truth of the Father's truth. Knowing. And without knowing anything, the only thing someone can do apart from him is condemn people with the heart and do wicked works and break all his law and commandments constantly, daily, and never repent. But if someone doesn't believe, it's not being given to them to see the truth, how it works, what it looks like and is, and the ability to start doing it, doing the actual good, which is his works, his righteousness, and not our own. Man has no righteousness of himself. He can't create it or muster it up, nor can he muster up faith of himself. He can't make something from nothing and create something out of nothing. He can't do that. No one can do that of themselves. And Messiah said, of myself I can do nothing. And I put another verse in the description where he says the Son like surely can do nothing. The Son can do nothing, but he speaks whatever the Father, he does whatever he hears from the Father, and also does what the Father does. That's doing the Father's works. It's like a kid obeying their dad. The kid hears, and then to do it is to obey, to know how to do it, and then rebellion is not to obey, not to hear. Words come to it, but then it doesn't hear, it goes away, it's blinded and turns away from it. That's the rebellion. That's mankind in rebellion. It doesn't obey the Creator at all, nor does it want to. It doesn't want to hear from him, lest they would die. So someone is afraid of dying in Messiah. They're afraid of that spiritual death, of letting their life go and following Messiah and taking up that stake daily to follow him. They're afraid. Mankind is afraid, but he won't admit that. He will try to hide that truth, and the whole world's hiding it so that the Father looks like a liar, so that it looks like Adam and Eve are not afraid and didn't go hide and cover their sins themselves, trying to, when that is all mankind, and they're doing it every single day. But the world makes it look like it's not happening. It makes it look like his word and truth is a lie for most people, most of the time. Not a single soul that's alive that isn't doing that sin or has done it, covering, running, and hiding from him. And covering sin, self, is an evil work. It's pride, severe pride. It's to replace the Creator and be the Creator in someone's heart, be the God-man in someone's heart, the Creator, God, Elohim Almighty in someone's heart by creating its own laws and definitions, changing the rules depending on the situation, changing it real quick so that it looks righteous and doesn't sin. Oh, something looks like they sin, well, they'll change the laws and the rules, and they'll change the situation real quick and change the words, which is all lying, deception, and evil. They'll modify it and morph it so that when you go through their law, they didn't sin. So if someone literally sinned for real, then someone does in their heart, they just change the laws real quick in their mind so that they don't sin. It'll be a loophole, a justification that walks away from acknowledging it did wickedness and sin. It doesn't believe it did. Can't. Doesn't believe it's actually wicked and evil and did evil and sin in the heart. Doesn't believe that at all. Adam doesn't believe that. Adam and Eve are only able to look like they acknowledge what they did after justifying it. In their heart, they never believed they did evil. Can't. A literal murderer can't even believe it in his own heart. He'll lie. He'll do that first, and then he'll justify it. By the time he acknowledges the literal words, he's already justified it. He doesn't believe he did any evil in his own heart. He justifies it. Doesn't matter what it looks like. So then someone that's a deceiver will make themselves look like they acknowledge something, and they didn't for real in their heart. It's deception. And I don't see how deception could be anything other than looking like something that it's not. That's deception. If it is deception, it looks like something, but it's not. Sounds like something, but it's not. Has the image of something that's true, but it's not for real. That's deception. People are doing it all the time, everywhere, deceiving their neighbor, lying to their neighbor constantly. And someone's neighbor is whoever is near, whoever you speak to, whoever we speak to is your neighbor. We read about it. Messiah taught this thing. How does someone justify their sin they're doing? They'll say, well, who is my neighbor? Who's my neighbor? They're not my neighbor, someone will say. Once they believe that, then they don't believe the sin they did applies to them, because they need it to go through being a neighbor first. It's a delusion. It's no reality. It's a playing God itself and creating its own rules, thinking it can actually do that and not receive the judgment from above immediately after sinning in the heart. Adam and Eve get a judgment no matter what they did and excused themselves and blamed it on the serpent, blame it on Eve. Judgment came on them anyways. There was no justification that actually worked in reality. Someone does sin in the heart, it's going to be judged, and it's going to be death for the wages of sin. Not life, it's death. The wages of lying is death. The wages of deceiving and masquerading is death. The wages of adultery in the heart is death. The wages of murder in the heart is death. Wages of many gods, false gods, and idols are death. Worshipping images is worshiping idols, and having false gods is death. Every breaking of every command is death, because that's the definition of sin. Transgression of the law is sin. Therefore, someone's in bondage to sin because of the law of sin and death. And that law of sin and death is working to all those that don't believe in the true Messiah and in the Creator. It's working even those that don't claim to believe in His word. It's working that self-righteousness, which is condemnation. I mean, someone's already condemned for not believing, which is already condemned and in death. That's the judgment from the Creator. It's doing the same evil in the heart, but it looks different on the outside, which doesn't matter. It creates its own laws to make itself righteous. It doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. It's doing the same work in the heart. Someone is doing it the same exact thing in sin in the heart, and it looks the same spiritually when it's the same sin in the heart. There's different ways to do it, different ways to do any given sin. Could look a little different for how it was done, but the end result is the same work from the heart. So then this world is based off of the image of the beast, a stupid, worthless image that it worships and must worship, that doesn't believe and worship the Creator. It worships the image of the beast then, all, great and small, free and slave, rich or poor, that have the mark of the beast, worship the image of the beast. They will worship the image of the beast that have the mark of the beast and the number of his name, to be of the enemy of the devil, marked like Cain. I'm going to read, I think, what I have some of in the description, the verse. It's the carnal man's definition in his heart that for saying that he's a son of Elohim, in their mind and in their heart, that's blasphemy to them. That is making himself equal with Elohim. That is their wicked, false accusation. That's who they are. They are Elohim Almighty in their heart. They are equal and are Elohim themselves. And the works prove it. Controlling someone is the works of God Almighty, proving to self that it's God, that nobody can tell me what to do, says the prideful heart, and I only tell people what to do. It keeps doing that because it needs to continually prove it's God, because it never works. So it has to keep on sinning more and more and more, and it never proves to itself that it's God, the Creator. In fact, it's getting proven that everyone isn't, because of failing every single test that comes to them, proving that what they said for who they are is a lie and that they're liars. Someone says, I would never do that. When the actual proper test comes to them, then they did it. And then they don't see and ignore and throw away and don't want to see and pretend that never happened. And then it happens over and over again, and someone pretends it never happened, falling deeper in the pit, deeper in its own delusion, given as a judgment for rebellion and sin. for working for self, out of self's works, thinking it can do something of self to make itself righteous, is pride. To be Elohim in one's own heart is the pride. It's the severe pride that it is the pride that every sin is connected to. Everything's connected to pride for evil. Branches out. Murder is pride. Adultery is pride. Has to be seen how, because it really is. Lying is pride. False gods, worshiping idols is pride. Anything that is man's own works is pride, because it's not doing the Father's works. It thinks it can do good. It thinks it can have life and create its own path and way. That's the rebellion. That's pride. All of it. Anything other than doing the Father's will and seeking to do his will and being taught by him is pride. Everything and anything other than that is pride. It takes a prideful heart to commit adultery. It takes a prideful heart to murder someone, to steal, to lie, to deceive, to rob, destroy people. It's pride connected to self being first and above all. It serves no one and wants to be served. Never wrong at any time. Never commits a foul at any time, ever. And when it looks like it acknowledges that, it's not. It's just looking like it. That's deception too. Because someone can look like they're doing the good because they're doing evil. They're doing it for an evil reason, using it in a certain scenario or situation to make themselves look like something for some kind of advantage for self, to not look like a sinner, to gain money, to gain fame, to hide that it's a sinner, to hide that it did evil, to gain the people's favor around them. Does it for all these corrupt intentions, something that looks good. Something that looks good doesn't even remotely mean that someone did good. Even the devil says that through mocking its own self and pouring out his own folly. Through this world and through entertainment, the devil mocks every single sin he does. People mock the very sins they do and take pride in it. Evil mockery is hypocrisy, and someone doing it is already doing what they're projecting and blaming and condemning everyone and making fun and trashing and destroying others. It does it itself. That's why it's doing those works, because it is that. If it wasn't that, it wouldn't be doing those wicked works. It is that. It does what it is to others. It puts out to others what it is itself. If it was not that, it wouldn't be doing evil, wouldn't be condemning people, wouldn't be trying to trash them, murder them, destroy their image for their own gain. Lie, cheat, steal, kill, rob, destroy, deceive. It wouldn't be doing this continually if it wasn't that itself. Someone murders because they're a murderer. Someone steals because they're a thief. Someone commits adultery because they're an adulterer. The works prove it. It's already over. No one in the world believes it. They don't even see what it is, don't want to see it. Works of the heart prove what someone is. Never does the Father's works. Can't be of the Father then. His people do his works, whether greater or lesser, because it depends where someone's at in their growth. Lesser if someone's only believed for a year, more if they've believed for 8 years or 10 or 15 or 20 or 30, because that's the kingdom of heaven is growing for those that believe. But they're doing the Father's works. It doesn't matter how big, how much, how small. It matters that they're being done. It's the world that demands perfection and puts this weight on everyone. Bondage, corruption, condemnation. It's all one and the same. Putting bondage on someone is condemning them. It's murder. It's wanting them to be destroyed. It's wanting them to be weighed down with sin so that it can make itself look good after trashing someone, with intent to trash someone and destroy their image, because the beastly instincts already know something about the image being the only thing that matters in this world. Beastly instincts of evil already know what to do to destroy someone, because in this world, someone's image is all that matters. So what do you do to hurt someone, destroy them? You destroy their image. And then prideful companies need a good image, so they cut off quickly, without any mercy, without any discernment or care, anything that makes their image look bad. They will get rid of you quicker than someone can blink the eye, and betray someone and dump them and murder them quicker than someone can blink when it's their image threatened. That's why it creates all these laws to protect itself, so that it can sin all at once, thinking it's getting away with it. But in this world, so that it doesn't go to literal prison, it creates all the laws that benefit its own wickedness, so that it never can be caught by anyone. Someone did something wrong for the job, they're going to trash that person and cut them off, so for their own saving, for their own preservation of the company, because it's man's heart working in the company. Every individual is doing that. So a company is just a bunch of individuals. So it's mankind behind it. It's the same heart. It's just a bigger thing because of more people. The company itself does the same work that an individual does, because wicked people run it, because unbelievers run it. It's going to run the same way an individual does. It's just a bigger scale. It desperately needs to protect and preserve itself in this world for its own gain. It's all that matters to someone in and of the world, is its own gain and image. How do you make a good image? It's very easy to do. It doesn't take any wisdom, doesn't take any good at all to make a good image. Make something up real quick, charity. Now charity creates a good image. It does that. It does do that. It does create an image of good, and it's used to cover all its sins and wickedness. That's why it does that. The richer someone gets in this world loving money, the more of a stronger good image they need to hide who and what they are and all the evil it took to get them to be a millionaire. It's not about numbers. It's about having a lust and love for money and only wanting to gain for self. It doesn't matter what someone has. It's the heart wanting and doing that work. Whether he has more or less, doesn't matter. It's the same sin in the heart. It's just increased. If it's increased, that's all. It's the same as someone with less. It's the same exact sin. But people will make themselves justified and look good by comparing something worse than them that they think is worse. And then they think that makes them good because something else they think is worse out there than them. This is full-blown corruption. It's taking zero accountability for what it does, zero, and blaming and dumping its sins onto someone or something else continually. As soon as someone does a sin, they're going to have a need to dump it on someone else and blame someone or something. It's going to be a pressure within, trying to speak what's happening spiritually within someone with words, and it's difficult to do. With some things more, some things less. It's going to be a pressure right away to need to get that sin and weight and judgment off of them. But it can't be done. But someone thinks it can and will desperately try. This is Adam and Eve covering themselves. They sinned and the judgment came right away within themselves, because that's the Father judging right away for sins in the heart. Nothing physical has to happen for that judgment to be done already. But yeah, so often something does happen, but it doesn't have to for the Father to judge any sin. Something doesn't have to come or be right away, physically, literally, for someone to be judged. But the world's definition of getting away is like not going to prison. That doesn't matter for truth, for believers. They will be in death whether they're in prison or not in prison. They're going to be in prison either way, in spiritual prison, a prison to their own sins and death. And they won't be able to enjoy the pleasures of this life and riches in sin. Father won't allow it. Thank the Father for that, the righteous judge. He doesn't allow corruption to actually stand within someone's self. It doesn't matter that it looks like someone's standing. That doesn't mean they're standing. The wicked prosper. We read it. So many of the wicked prosper. Yes, they do. Carnally prospering. Carnally, worldly riches prospering has nothing to do with prospering according to truth. They're dead. What benefit do those riches have since they lost their soul and are destroying it further every day? They're dead. Doesn't matter. What profit is it for them? Do they believe the truth? Absolutely not. It's in rebellion to it. It does not believe the truth. It's not going to be in agreement with any believer that believes truth and has received truth and is receiving truth. For what truth is and how it works and what it means, and the true understanding and knowledge and wisdom that comes from above, not beneath. Every good gift comes from above. Nothing good comes from beneath. A gift from beneath is sin. And if something's not sin all by itself, it's used for sin. It's connected to sin because of what someone does with it and why they do it. But everything from above, though, is a good gift, comes from above. Only good things. And good things only come from above. Good gifts and blessings come from above. Not of this world. The world has its own definition of blessings, its own definition of rewards that have nothing to do with rewards in Scripture, with blessing that we read in Scripture. It has nothing to do with the Father's things and what it is and what it means. It's its own definition because it's pride. It creates its own definition, laws, rules. It rewards itself, does all these things through pride. Messiah didn't live pride because he did the Father's will and denied himself. He didn't seek his own understanding or think as a believer even. Yes, Messiah was a believer, is a believer. How is he not? Anyone that's doing the Father's will believes in the Father. Anyone that's not doing his will at all, zero, doesn't believe in the Creator. Messiah is the first example and the perfect example that the Father worked through him to be the example for all those that would believe afterward. Hitler's not our example. Our own self is not the example. Friend, neighbor, whatever is not an example. Messiah is the perfect example. If you come from the right, it looks like you're going left, but you come from the right continually. You know, where someone comes from, they coming from the Father or not? Messiah says, I proceed forth from the Father. Birthed by Elohim, proceeding forth from the Father. So someone comes forth, comes from the right to left. They're coming from the right constantly. But what is that? What does it look like? It looks like it's the hand is going to the left. Sin. Left representing that. The goats on the left, sheep on the right. So someone will judge it by appearance and say this is sin because it's going to the left. Can't judge by appearance. That's how deceiving it is. It doesn't matter that it looks like it's going left. It's coming from the right. And going right is coming from the left. It looks right. It looks right. It literally does in someone's heart. It looks right to them. And it's coming from the left. It's working out of the left, coming from the enemy, coming from sin, coming from self, coming from rebellion, coming from the wide gateway, going to the wide gateway. Doesn't matter what something has to be discerned individually. It doesn't matter what it looks like, because so often it will look wrong, but good looks evil to this world, though. The good always looks evil to this world. It looks like that to them because they can't see, because they're in delusion. If they could truly see, then they wouldn't be doing that or saying that or believing that. But that's just what this world is. That's what man is. The natural man, those in and of the world that don't believe, will see good as evil, and it will be counted as an evildoer for doing actual good, proving that someone has no discernment when they make an accusation for a good work as being evil. It proves that they don't know whether what they said is true or not. Proves that they don't even know if their accusation is true. They don't know in their heart. If someone guessed something right or happens to be right, it doesn't matter if they guessed it right. And they still didn't know for sure. It's a pretty big deal and a big difference. Guessing right something has nothing to do with truth and knowledge and knowing. Someone puts like a ball under 3 cups and moves them around, says, "Where is the ball?" Well, to make this picture very certain, their eyes were closed. Someone put a ball in one of the cups and moved them around, and now the person has to open their eyes and guess, where is it? Because they guessed it right, that means they knew? They didn't know. Therefore, if someone guesses something right, they won't know how that was so. They don't know the understanding. They didn't do any good. They just happened to guess something right. But then someone will take pride in that and act like they know, act like that there was wisdom to it when it was just a blind guess, and they happen to be right. It makes no difference if someone is right or wrong in the guess. It makes no difference at all, zero partiality. Either way, someone doesn't know if they can't see. To bring out this not knowing, one way to do it that I can think of, it's not perfect, but it does bring something out, is say your life is on the line. Say, I don't know if you don't know, or choose, where is that ball? And if you choose wrong, your life's over. Someone might say they don't know now and tell the truth when there's a test for their life. That's how the Father tests everyone. Pressure. Not necessarily to take someone's life literally. It's just an example. It's a pressure, it's a test. When your life is threatened, it creates a pressure. And that's what I'm trying to bring out. It doesn't matter how that pressure comes. It's just one example of pressure is your life is on the line. There's something happening within someone if that were to be so. If someone's got a gun to someone's head, there's an immediate fear and pressure in people, isn't there? So now are they going to play roulette with their life, or actually tell the truth and say, I don't know? Because if they choose wrong, you're boom, your life's over. If you guess it right, it doesn't matter. See, the point is bringing out not knowing for real. That's sin, to act like someone knows when they don't. It's sin. It's deception. It's murder. It's lying. It's deceiving people to do those works to anybody. I had a thought come, but I might have lost it. Oh, so let's say someone had to choose, but they didn't see it. They don't know for sure. See, because how do you know if your eyes are closed and you're blind where that ball is? Which cup is it under? You don't know. But now with that pressure of losing your life, if you choose wrong, if someone tried to take the risk and guess out of not knowing, and they guessed it right, And because they guessed it right, okay, now your life won't end. Did they do good? No, because their life was on the line. It doesn't count as good. That corrupts the heart. That forces you to do something. Anything that's forced is already sin, even if it looks magnificent and good, sold as good. Somebody choosing and guessing something right, and now their life was spared. Did they do good? No, they did zero good, because their life was threatened, which forced them to do what they wouldn't ever do. That's why people torture people. It's why they show that, to try to bring out what they would not want to bring out. Enough torture and most people start talking. Did they do good? Let's say they tell the truth and tell someone what they want. Somebody wants the person to tell them, tell me, or I'm going to chop fingers off. Tell me, I'm going to start torturing you. And let's say they do it because they were being tortured, and they tell the truth. They give it up, what someone wants to hear. Did that person tell the truth? Did they do good in heaven? Is it counted for actual real good to the Father? It's zero good. They did wickedness. That's the trap for sin. It doesn't matter what way you take, it's going to be evil. That's what someone gets for rebellion. There is no way to do good in sin. You get trapped spiritually and have to do evil either way. There is no way made. The Father traps the wise in their own craftiness, because that's all they do to others, is trap and deceive and show zero mercy, zero favor, zero forgiveness, setting traps, trying to get someone to be caught as a sinner, trying to destroy and catch people. Therefore, the Father destroys and catches the wicked man doing it. He does that out of a righteous judgment, not out of doing what the wicked man is doing. It's a judgment. Receiving back what he puts out is a judgment from above. The person that told the truth because they were getting tortured did not tell the truth at all. Pharaoh letting the people go did zero good. What utterly proved that was so? Chasing them again, wanting to destroy them afterwards, proved that there was no good done, because he repented for letting the people go, but he never actually did a true good work in the first place, because it took a bunch of plagues and judgments, and it got so bad, finally someone does something, then they account it righteous to themselves when they do it. Pity me, heavy is the crown on my head. I did good, took so much work for me to do good. Sick, stay quiet. Adam and Eve, stay quiet. Needs to die, and death causes silence, which is good, because Adam's mouth keeps running lies. He keeps applying righteousness to his own self by himself, as if he's the creator, and only the creator can do that. No man on earth can do that. That comes from him. And to be commended comes from him, but people want to be commended by men, by people. They want others to commend them, to support them, and then that proves to the crooked heart that they're doing good because a bunch of people support it. How crooked is that? That proves they're doing evil if the world loves someone. It's the exact opposite. Not only is it wrong, it's the exact opposite. It's proving that they're not a believer if a bunch of people support them openly, praise them. Believers are not praised by this world. It's not happening. 9 years, it's not happened. It's not happening. And however long someone else has believed, a true believer, they'll know this is true. Father's people are not praised or worshiped by people of this world. If it looks like it, it's has to be discerned. If it looks like it for a little while, it won't last, that's for sure. It's some kind of delusion, it's some kind of blinding on the enemy's part. If it looks like it's worshiping a believer, it won't last. Even that fake thing that's not real won't last. It'll condemn you and count you for garbage and wicked. and want you destroyed in its heart secretly, at the very least. Just a matter of time, short time. They didn't love Messiah. They couldn't hear his words. They couldn't hear the first believers' words. They were hated. You will be hated by all for my name's sake, Messiah taught. Now it starts off as a little seed, but the more someone grows, the closer to the perfect filled up truth that those words are. It's just small in the beginning. It's not that it's not true for a believer in the beginning, it's just small. It's growing to that perfect thing. Therefore, it is counted for being hated by all, even if it's not filled up yet, because that is his way through growth and zero condemnation for those that believe. Father is not condemning his people for not being what we need to be in one day. That is his way. That is what his favor is for, is to do his will and grow. It's not what we need to be in one day for any given thing or any sin or breaking of a commandment. It's not perfected in one day, but as long as it's on the way, then that's the best a believer could do in that moment. They are doing it, but just not completely yet, not fully, until the end, until someone's perfected. There's no condemnation for not being a giant tree yet, coming from him, but people will condemn you though. They see a sign you're not literally perfect, they'll condemn you instantly. They demand perfection and put it on people all the day long. The works prove it. What people say after speaking truth proves it. If they try to find a splinter of sin in you, that means they're putting perfection on you and putting the heavy yoke and bondage that they can read. That's wicked to do. That's what they're doing. They're doing what we read when someone tries to find a splinter in someone, digging desperately so that they can condemn them. That work right there is the heavy yoke and bondage that they put on someone. They are doing it, and they don't and won't acknowledge it. They will say they don't do it at all, and that's all they've ever done all their life. Mankind, that's all he's ever done. What do you mean he's not doing it? No unbeliever is keeping the Father's word. It's not possible. There is no way apart from belief. That means someone's heart is in sin continually that doesn't believe. It's already so, already true. It's not pride, it's the truth. Implying, teaching secretly anything else is the deception and lie. That some false thing, some false religion could get you there and become righteous. No, there's no way. Their heart is the same as anybody else's in sin daily. There's no reality to it. It's just a trick and an image of righteousness through whatever image. Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, whatever the image is, the heart's doing the same work, the same sins, the same murder, stealing, lying, deception, the same taking pleasure in the death of the wicked, racism, self-righteousness continually. It's the same exact heart as anybody else, wicked, deceitful, like we can read that the heart is of man, desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. But there is a way for the heart to be changed through the old heart being destroyed and the new being given. But it's only his way, only through belief in the true Messiah, in the Father. There's no other way to actually have any change for real and any good works. It can't be done apart from belief. Yes, it is exclusive. Someone just tries to paint a picture to make it look wicked. Oh, of course the world's going to love the many things, the many paths. Of course everyone around is going to be in agreement to that. Of course. Because they all do the same evil themselves and don't believe themselves. Of course they're going to support the corruption and the lie because they support their own sins. It's already doing that with corrupt, selfish intentions. support something because it does it itself. It's supporting itself, not anybody else. It just looks like people support other people. Nobody of the enemy actually does the work of caring and supporting someone. They only look like it. They won't tell you that they're doing that because they're doing it for themselves. That they're justifying their own sin, so then they will be in agreement with the lie, so as to cover their own sins. First and foremost, it's working out of self only. That's it. How many tests come to the wicked, to all people, all the time? Tests come to the rich man. Tests come to the mayor. Oh, some big ones and hard ones, those that increase in great riches and are in deeper sin. Some real impossible tests come to them to prove that they're a liar and don't care about anyone, and they are not a mayor because they care about anyone. Tests come to all of them, and they fail all the tests. They will create their own definition of what makes them righteous, and it has nothing to do with reality and proves nothing because they created it themselves. When a real test comes, they don't put themselves on the line. They don't sacrifice themselves in truth for caring about someone in the world, caring for people. That's why they got the job. No, it's not. No, it's not. But it's a great sin because it claims that it loves and is doing that. That's where the massive sin lies, is that it believes that and claims that and sells that image. But it loves its power and lusts for it. It loves controlling people. It doesn't love anyone. People don't love anyone apart from the Creator. It loves controlling people, murdering them. Took a lot of sin to become that rich. That's a fact. Every single time without exception. That's a destroyer that's become that rich and famous. It's a destroyer, destroying many people more than the average person is destroying. The bigger they become in this world, the bigger of the devil they are. They're closer to that beast. They're closer to the devil manifested in the flesh, a destroyer of many. The more crowds, the more that someone gains, means they have destroyed more and are destroying more people and deceiving more people. What's the judgment? You have to go and deceive more tomorrow. Have to. No choice. Fill yourselves up, Messiah said. Fill up the measures of your father's guilt. You are guilty and do the same sin as the fathers. Don't be deceived, Messiah taught. Don't think you're better than the last generations. Don't think you're better than those 500 years before them. They're the same people. And when someone says, I would never do what they did back then, they already did. They're blind. There's no reality to it. They're already doing it right now, what everyone did 500 years ago in the wicked heart. It's doing murder, it's stealing, it's committing adultery, it's lying, it's deceiving. It does not worship the one true Creator and seek to do His will. It's doing all the same sins as the fathers did. So fill up with the measure of your father's guilt, Messiah said. Pretty strong. Is that a command to sin? Is that Messiah's heart wanting someone to sin? No. Does it sound like it? Yes, it does. And it has nothing to do with Messiah's heart wanting someone to literally sin. It's a righteous judgment. It's a righteous discernment. Knowing the Father's judgment and how it works, and knowing what the people are doing. Fill up then the measure of your father's guilt and all its sin. That's what it must be if you don't believe in me, he says. If you don't believe in him and in the Father, then it has to be that way, because that is the judgment. And it's a warning, too, that they don't hear. It's a warning also for what they're doing, filling up with sin. Fill self up then. That's how it's got to be, then let it be. Causes death, destruction. It's getting worse. Not better. Who knows how many different ways this world has for selling false healing. Nobody heals except the Creator through Messiah. There is no real healing anywhere else to be found. But is the world selling that there is? Everywhere, all the time. Do people believe it? Everywhere, all the time, everyone. Of course they believe it. One will have a different opinion about this or that and fight each other, but it's just a different, slightly different thing that someone ends up believing, some kind of lie, a little different than someone else's, but they're all false, that are not of him. They're not healing anybody. They're still just as much in sin and getting worse. After believing they've been healed, they're getting even worse in reality. They still do the same sins in the heart daily, every day, waxing worse, and then they believe the lie that they got healed. Not even a believer is healed in one day through the truth, let alone some corrupt false thing coming from man, selling healing in the first place and healed very quickly too. What a great abomination that is. Speaking of reality, there is no healing available anywhere else in unbelief in the wide gateway. It is wide. It includes all ways. And someone makes themselves look righteous and good because they say, I accept all kinds of ways. That's what the world loves to hear. It loves that wickedness and sin. It loves to support all the wicked sin from all the wicked divisions that are doing nothing but sin and lies, destroying people for real. Of course, it loves many ways, and people in the world will cheer that on and say that's a good person because it likes many ways and it does that itself. So it cheers on anything that itself is. If it's not itself, it will murder you for sure. It will hate you for sure. Someone only cheers someone on because it's something they believe that the other person is doing what they do. That's why someone can cheer someone on, because they're cheering themselves on. It's literally cheering its own self. That's it. Something connected to self. See if it isn't so. Make the discernment about anything and everything. See if it isn't so, that it's something to do with self that someone does, believes, or has. That's how it's able to look like it likes somebody, cheers somebody, praises somebody. You can rest assured, because it's not my truth, that it's something to do with self, if that's happening. But someone isn't supposed to be rest assured and blindly do something. They have to see it for themselves. And every believer has to see it and know any given truth themselves. You can't just blindly believe some words and then say, we understand, I believe it blindly. The heart actually has to know. So even if something given is true to someone, but if they're not seeing it yet, they have to seek out the Creator on what it is, nevertheless, even if it's true. It's got to be tested by every individual itself and proven. Otherwise, it's just picking up a lie and claiming to believe it, and then someone goes blind because of it. They won't be able to see anything deeper than that for what they did and what it means. They'll just blindly accept something and believe it and then just never think about it again. It means nothing to them. Then that thing doesn't mean anything to someone for real. It's no good. It's worthless. It's like a paperweight on a good day. Most assuredly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he sees the Father do, for whatever he does, the Son also does in like manner. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all things that he himself does, and he will show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as the Father raises the dead and gives life to them, even so the Son gives life to whom he will. For the Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son, This is going to sound like it contradicts other things. Everything in its own order, rightly dividing his word of truth, has to be given to see what anything means. Anything and everything in his word. What does that mean? For the Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son, that all should honor the Son just as they honor the Father. He who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. It's not that the Father doesn't judge, which contradicts with letters, because we just read he judges no one. It's not that the Father is not judging. This is meaning he does nothing apart from Messiah. He does all things through Messiah. That's what it means. Well, in some words, but the meaning has to be given to see it in spirit, for the heart to see it. Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son. There's nothing the Father does that isn't through Messiah. That's what it's meaning. He judges no one. He's not doing anything that isn't through Messiah. It is not meaning that he doesn't do any judgment at all. That's a contradiction, because he does. He's the judge of all the earth, judging the works. But this specific verses here, this specific teaching, is something different than judging man's works. Something different and separate. So what something sounds like and looks like doesn't matter by itself, and it can contradict. It can look like it for an image. It can sound like it. It doesn't matter. It breaks everything that man knows or thinks he knows. He doesn't actually know, because everything is a robotic, carnal, natural, beastly understanding according to the letters. If it sounds like it contradicts, then the carnal man says it contradicts, because he has no discernment or understanding of anything in his word for what it means. Doesn't see how it works and what it means. Therefore, if it sounds like it contradicts, it's over. He says it contradicts, because he judges by appearance with his literal eyes and literal ears. Messiah said, do not judge by appearance, judge with righteous judgment. How often are we not supposed to judge by appearance? Every single second of every day, the rest of our life. Never, not even once. There's no teaching. It means never. The teaching means never. Never judge by appearance. Do not judge by appearance. Applies every day, every second of every day, for everything. Never judge by appearance, ever. Never. Zero. Even if someone thinks they know right away or assumes, still can't do that. Never judge by appearance. That's unrighteous, wicked judgment. That doesn't come from above, but from self. And anything that comes from self is already sin, because Messiah can do nothing of himself. Neither can we. He said we can't. Without me, you can do nothing, he said. Speaking to us, his people, anyone that believes. The first disciples, which is to us, to anyone that believes today. That's why it's written down, because it's to his people. That's the teaching. Who is he teaching? His people. It's not just the 12 disciples, and then that's it forever. It's all that believe. It's why it's written down. It's always true. Without me, he said, you can do nothing. Concerning all the good things, all the good works, concerning true understanding, everything that has to do with the Father's truth, we can do nothing without Messiah, without belief, without his Spirit in us. We can do nothing. It's just as Messiah could do nothing without the Father. So he said, of myself I can do nothing. But not speaking of carnal things, not speaking of going for a walk, picking up a book, making furniture, not speaking of worldly carnal things. When saying of self can do nothing, speaking of the real things, highly offensive to the natural man in religion, because it's fully against them, because they don't know what it means and it's against them. Self-righteousness and pride in the heart only believes that self does everything. And this is perfectly backwards from all mankind that doesn't believe. He can make it look like he loves his word when he has a false definition and a lie or a meaning to it. It can look like he loves some scripture or something when someone's heart doesn't know what it means or doesn't believe what it means, but has something false for what it means. Then someone can look like they love his word because it's not the truth in them, because they don't see the truth in what they think that means and don't live by it. But when the truth is given and light is revealed, then it's shown that they actually hate what every given truth is and what it really means, because the natural man is not doing it. He's not doing the works of the Father. He's doing his own works, breaking the Sabbath every day by not resting from his works. We're supposed to die to our works, our own self, the Adam, dying to destroying our soul so that we can find life. He who destroys or loses his soul life shall be destroying it, losing it, perishing it. To break the Sabbath is death. Wages of sin is death. Our own works is death. Anything that's of self is self-righteousness. Anything that's not of the Father is self-righteousness. It already has to be, because there is no other way apart from him. If it's not of him, it's self-righteous. It really already is that for real. Someone is already doing the works of self-righteousness if it's not of the Father, because only his righteousness is righteous. And it was revealed to contrast so that his righteousness could be seen. A lot of sin, a lot of evil has to be so that his righteousness can be seen in a stark contrast to the law of sin and death, to man trying to keep the laws and the covenant, the old covenant of man trying. Self-righteousness, man trying, not denying self, not true belief, not true faith at all, just the image of it. Just the image of it. Not true repentance, just the image of it. So it is for the carnal man today, no different than before. In unbelief, it's still the same then. It's in self-righteousness. Its heart is working self-righteousness. It's working pride. These are invisible things that can't be seen without someone being given sight. Otherwise, they will fulfill what Isaiah said through the prophet of Isaiah right now in 2022, that they have eyes but cannot see and ears but cannot hear. They've bent over backwards and their eyes have closed and shut and grown, and their ears have grown dull of hearing. They have literal eyes, but they can't see. What seeing means is not literal seeing. It's acknowledging that people can literally see. They have eyes, but they can't see. They do have ears, but they can't hear. Because it's not about hearing what you literally hear. And it's not about seeing what we literally see. It's not about that at all. Zero. Doesn't mean that there's no importance to literally have eyesight. That's not the meaning. Doesn't mean it's garbage now to have eyesight. Not the meaning. Someone could add that and imply that secretly, which is adding to his word, which is sin. Doesn't mean that. That's just someone adding to it. No spiritual sight. The kingdom of heaven cannot be seen unless someone is born again from above, Messiah said. It's utter authority. You cannot see the kingdom of Elohim unless you are born again, he says. Born again from above, born from the Father, as Messiah proceeded forth from the Father, of the Father's Spirit, and the natural birth is separate. As he taught, that which is born of flesh is flesh, that which is born of spirit is spirit. Separate. So which one is it speaking of? That has to be known first, the natural or the spiritual. That has to be known first, or else it's already a lie and wrong. So proceeding forth from the Father is not the natural. It's being of the Father, that birth. To have his Spirit is to be born. Speaking of the Spirit, no one can see the kingdom of Elohim unless one's born again. Being born naturally and literally won't do it. It's not the meaning. That's just the type. Points to the true. It's something like the type. Being born. What does someone know before they're born? Nothing. So also spiritually, before someone truly believes, they know nothing concerning his truth and word. Zero. Requires to be born at the very least to start learning. Requires death in Messiah to start learning. The moment someone's born, truly, they start dying. So it requires death also to have knowledge, to see his truth, to see him, to see Messiah. Requires birth and death. Requires birth and dying to gain truth and see anything at all. Once a baby is literally born, well, now they can start learning as it grows up, worldly things for the picture. But the baby is also dying. So it's both at the same time. Both need to happen because it happens both at once. So when someone believes, they're counted as dying. The old man has died. The apostle is teaching what the truth is, what it needs to be for a believer. If indeed someone believes, then they died in Messiah, but they are dying now, needing to die daily, because the old man doesn't die in his way overnight, but it's a constant belief, constant dying to self, till all of Adam's cut off, all of it within us, who and what we are first, needs to be cut off completely until there's nothing wicked left and only things of the Father. That's it. And the old man perishes. That's the narrow way. The wide gateway is not believing now, and the judgment on Adam is destruction, dying. But there's no life. It's just dying. So everybody is dying, but why not have life while dying? Believers are dying, but he gives us life because of letting go our life through his way. But if someone doesn't believe, they are not letting go. They are not forfeiting, denying themselves. Therefore, they are within themselves is dying. Adam is being judged and destroyed anyways for sin. So it doesn't get better. Dying, it's getting closer to the full death. It does not get better in unbelief. It gets worse. And in belief, Adam's dying also gets worse, but the life he gives increases also. Those are the two ways, the narrow gate and the wide gate. And gatekeepers are everywhere for evil, to keep people out of the kingdom. Watch and search for truth and make sure they crush it and turn someone around it so that they don't enter the kingdom, so that they don't believe. Now, that's what a false gatekeeper does. It's what a wicked gatekeeper does. It's watching for good and trying to destroy it. It's looking like it's doing the truth, but it's all wickedness and backwards in the heart. But it looks like it for an image. Looks like a believer being a gatekeeper, but what does the true gatekeeper do? Watches for evil and keeps it out and warns people and doesn't want sin to happen for someone. It's watching for wickedness to destroy it, to expose it. So the image is the same, but the false gatekeeper is watching for good to destroy the good. perfect wickedness, but the image looks the same, because the one that's a wicked gatekeeper will claim, does claim, and can claim, and does claim he's doing what Scripture says. He's doing good. He's creating the same image as the true, and it has nothing to do with it. It looks like two people keeping something out, same image. One's keeping out good, one's keeping evil out. Both look like they're keeping something out. Same image. That's who the devil is, a masquerader. Masquerades as the truth for every detail. Every finest thing is masqueraded in this world. It's already existing. It looks like the truth to someone that can't see it all, because it's the same image. And that image is believed and worshipped. That's what we read. That the world will do. The whole world is deceived. Satan deceives the whole world. Just worshiping the image of the beast, which is a huge thing. Worshipping self's image, worshipping other people's images, believing the lie, the image, the lie. An image is not real, it's a lie. It's copying what's real. It's an image of what's real and isn't real itself. The projector is real, not the image. But that's just an example. It's not perfect. It's a good example. Sheep's and wolf clothing creates an image of sheep. That's the goal, to create the image of a sheep, to look the same on the outside. But it's a wolf under the skin, under the cover. It's a wolf. Its heart does wolf works, but it's trying to hide under the skin of a sheep. Freaky. That's what the enemy does. It's no wonder that all his ministers do also, we read. Masquerading as a messenger of life. It's no wonder that all his ministers also do the same. It's the Elohim of this world, the wicked father. That father being the devil, the enemy. 180 in all things, against all truth, with no truth in him. Can the enemy sound like it speaks truth? Can it say true words? Yeah. Does that prove it's of the truth? No. Because that's just judging by what something looks and sounds like only, which is part of the deception. The enemy uses that to the advantage of deception for sounding and looking like true to deceive people. That's what makes it so deceiving. That's why Messiah says watch and pray, because it's that deceiving constantly, all the time. As soon as someone is not on guard, they're going to be deceived, fall. Sin comes inside the door. Anyone that's not watching and praying at all, they are already deceived and fallen in death and don't believe. If they never do the watching and praying, it's already over. They're already deceived right now if they don't do that ever. That's why we read to do that. And for what specifically? For temptation, like Messiah said, watch and pray, or else it won't be seen. Someone will be blinded and deceived, and they'll cave into every temptation, whatever it is, and sin and do evil, which is death. What benefit is it to watch the sky only and create a false definition to what this means, the carnal, the first, the natural, and say that the image is true, staring at the sky overnight for 10 hours straight or something? If that's what someone believes it means in their heart, then they're already fallen. They're false. They don't believe. They do sin every day and have never repented a day in their life yet. But they really do make themselves look like messengers of light on the outside to people. It's that deceptive. But they're wolves inside every day with a full-blown hatred and wrath and wicked heart inside that hates people and loves deceiving them. No one will ever admit it. So long as they don't believe, they'll never admit who they are. They can't. It's not possible. They will believe the lie and the delusion all the way to their literal death. If they never repent, they will die in their sins. Not a single sin will be acknowledged and revealed, sorry for. That's what it means to die in your sins. That they were a deceiver all the way to the end. Those sins stayed and piled up all the way to the end. Not a single one being forgiven or healed because it was never acknowledged. They can't. It's a trap. They got trapped by the Creator's judgment for doing evil to others and murdering people and lying to them. They are being murdered. They are being destroyed as a judgment. They are being destroyed. They are destroyed. Nobody can do evil and not be destroyed. Nobody could continually lie and not be in death with no change. It's not until a little bit of light and testing comes to the false that they reveal themselves. But if there's nothing at the moment, they can do a pretty good job looking like they're a believer. But if they're not, their heart is the same wickedness that it's always been in everyone. It's Adam and Eve still, and not the new man and Messiah. It's still murdering with the heart daily, but it makes itself look like it doesn't do that. Very easy to do, not hard to do. Not hard to do sin. Doing what's right is difficult. It takes nothing to do evil. It takes nothing to keep your word for evil. Can't keep their word for good. Can't keep it ever for good, but for evil, yeah, someone can keep their word for evil. They'll make that a big deal because it's wicked, and people will love it and strangely want to keep it and do the best they can to keep their word because it's for evil. Then people will flock around the evil and praise it and make a big deal out of it and seemingly worship something so hardcore, some worthless nothing they want to keep their word for. The king is worried about everyone every day for what they think of him and his image. Shall the king lie? Because he said he will keep his word and now he's not going to keep his word and everybody around is quiet. Going, yeah, is the king going to keep the word? Oh, yeah, because the people are going to revolt and slander and attack and murder someone with a bad image that makes them look bad. So they always have a way of making themselves look righteous, like they hate evil, but they don't hate evil. It only looks like it. They hate good. They need to make themselves look like they hate evil so that they look like a good person, a messenger of light. They don't actually hate evil. No unbeliever hates evil. They don't know what it is yet. It's like saying someone that hasn't been born knows what evil is and hates it. They're not even born. How come nobody believes this in this world? Isn't that what they read? You must be born again. It shows how blind mankind is. Nothing. Without the Father, man is nothing. Can see nothing. Bondage to slavery of sin. Needing to put hands up like a zombie and worship the sin. It must do the sin. It's a slave to it. That's what slavery is. It's a spiritual slavery, and it's very real. Someone wants adultery, you'll be filled up with it, the Father says. If you have more of it, you won't be able to stop. Then it worships adultery. It worships wickedness. It can't stop. Then it'll make excuses along the way to justify why it's doing it. That's why someone really could blow up with wrath when they see a true believer doing good works, because it proves that they are a lie. Their whole soul is a lie. Their whole life is a lie because they made excuses. But how is it someone's doing good works? Seeing good works of the Father from an enemy is proof that they are lying and that their excuses are made up in a lie and it's not working. seeing good works in someone is proof of the Father's existence and proof of man's wickedness, because that light reveals their darkness, that they never do good, but only wicked works from the heart. They don't want to come to the light to be revealed for who and what they are, Adam and Eve. That's what we read, because it does not love good. It does not love the Creator. It does not love righteousness at all. Zero. But it does make itself look like it loves it all the day long. And nobody can fake anything real. Nobody can do the works of the Father. No one can do the works of the Father's love at all that doesn't believe. They have to fake it. And that's able to be seen by those who see. It's a discernment. You see it for what it is. You can see it's fake. And anything that's fake is a lie, is a deceiver, because they're selling something that they are not constantly. They're selling love and they're never doing it. It's fake. So the enemy is fake. An image isn't real, therefore it's fake. It's a lie. Putting on a costume like people are going to do tomorrow is not real. It's not who the person is. It's just an image. Be who you want to be. It's a day of freedom in the beast in people's mind. Slavery. It's not freedom. It's insanity. It wants to be a monster. Why does it love death so much? Just about every image is going to be about death tomorrow. For Halloween. It's Gehenna fire. It's hell. Why does it love death so much? Why does it make a covenant with death? It says that in its own heart. We read it. Its heart is doing that. It's not about what someone says out loud. It's what the heart's doing for real. It loves death. It loves seeing people in death. It loves seeing people sin. It wants to see people in sin. It takes comfort in seeing others do the same sin that they do. We can't be doing that. It's evil. That's not love. That's wickedness. It's hate. What does the world do to protect sin? Creates a bad image for whatever the truth is, because that's the only way the enemy knows and can make something be destroyed in this world, because it's only about the image in this world. So if you can make something look bad, well, then everyone's going to destroy it through not believing someone, through condemning someone, throwing the tomato at someone's face and saying, "Get out of here, you wicked." And so then that's how these kingdoms work in and of this world. You know, they say something about like gay pride, for example. Anybody that says anything against the wickedness that it is a hater, is a murderer, is what they're saying. They're saying a hater out of wickedness. They're saying someone's hating out of being a wicked murderer. That is what they're saying. But they play word games all the time. Hate is murder. Do they want it read to them? Yes, hate from the heart is murder. So when they say that it's hate, they say they're trying to make you, someone out there, look like a wicked person, to throw them down so that their lie and their sin can stand in their own mind. That's how this world attacks things. It tries to attack someone's image, because that's all that matters. What someone's doing from the heart means nothing to this world. Zero. It's only the image. So you destroy someone's image. That's how you attack. Make them look bad. That's what someone cares about. They say, "How dare you make me look bad?" That's all they care about. They don't care about anything real, whether they're doing good or evil to anyone, whether they love someone or care about them or not. They only care about being made look bad. Don't make me look bad. Now I have to destroy you because you made me look bad. Only I'm allowed to put a bullet in your head, but you can't do that to me. Only I'm allowed to punch you, but you can't punch me back, says God Almighty in delusion. people aren't seeing this. It's astonishing. Someone punches someone, and they, in their mind, want nobody to punch them back. It's wicked for someone to punch them back. Perfect hypocrisy. But if someone punches them back after being punched first, then how dare you punch me? Incredible. It's blind. Completely blind. What, doesn't see that it just did that, and it even did it first? It's allowed to punch someone, and then it expects no one can punch them back. But when someone punches them back, it rages, wants to destroy them. How dare you punch me? Apply that with everything now. Anything and everything, all sin. That's how the heart's working in sin. It's a one-way check valve. It can do evil, but no one can do evil back to it. Rage is when someone does evil. Rage is when they catch someone lying to them, but that's all they ever do is lie to others themselves. So does it hate lying? Does it hate what lying is? No, it doesn't, because it lies all the time itself. How could it hate what it does forever, constantly? It creates the image that it hates lying. It creates an image that it hates lying so that it looks righteous, so that it looks like it hates evil. But what it's doing is committing sorcery and a sleight of hand spiritually. It's selling that it hates lying and hates evil. But what it really hates is someone doing evil to them. Tears of rage and insecurity. How dare you touch me? That's what it hates. It hates anybody doing evil to them, but it sells the hatred as hating a lie, hating evil. It does not hate lies. It does not hate evil. It hates someone doing evil to them because of pride. Because you can't touch me, I'm God. How dare you do evil to me? That's what it hates. It doesn't hate the evil or lie itself, ever. Zero. Does it look like it? You know, the image is going to be the deceiving thing. It's going to look like the image, which is someone hates lying, which makes them look righteous, because believers do hate lying. They are learning to hate lying for real. So then they create the image of hating lying by getting angry when someone lies to them. They don't hate lying. They're angry that someone lied to them. They lie all the time themselves to others. How could they hate lying? Don't even know what it is. What someone does every day, they know what it is. How could someone know what something is if you do it every day? Never repented a day in for a single work, for a single lie ever. Never. For 1,000 lies, 10,000 lies. Never repented for one, for real. How could it hate lying? It doesn't. The works prove it. Lying all the time proves that someone doesn't hate lying and doesn't know what it is. Committing adultery all the time proves that they don't know what it is and that they don't hate it. They love it. You do what you love, not what you don't love what you don't do. People love what they do. They do it because they love it. People like sin. They love it. It's a literal love for sin. It's real. And unbelievers are offended at seeing other people's sins that they love, but they do it themselves. They're offended at everything. Just a giant hypocrisy. A madhouse. The heavens and the earth, everyone, it's a madhouse. An insane house. But there's a few that believe, and they're building their house on the rock, and it doesn't change. It doesn't move. It stays there forever, whatever comes from him. If it's wood, hay, and stubble, it's going to be burned up. It won't stay there. Someone will suffer loss. But then that's how we learn. It's going to happen. But everything that's like a stone, something that doesn't just burn up like wood, hay, and stubble, once it's there, once it's given, it stays. It's forever. It's not going to be destroyed. But the wicked house is only being built so that it could be destroyed. That's the reason why it's built. It is stupid. It is a contradiction. That's what evil really is. The Father made it to be foolishness. It is built so that it can fall, which is stupid for real, because evil is stupid for real. All of it is blind, foolish, and stupid. All of it just needs to be seen how. Father can show those that ask how to see it, to see how, to see the proof for how it works, to see the foolishness in it. He made the wisdom of this world foolishness. If the wisdom of this world is foolishness, what is everything less than wisdom? What is foolishness if wisdom is foolishness? It's definitely foolishness if wisdom is foolishness. Then foolish is foolishness. It's like extra foolish. If its wisdom is foolishness, then everything is foolishness in and of the world. He made it to be so. And his righteousness and his goodness and mercy and who he is stands out like a giant light in great contrast to wickedness and darkness. If something is being revealed, how is it that it was existing before? Then you can't say the word revealed in truth. If it was revealed 1,000 years earlier, how could you say revealed 1,000 years later? As if it's just being revealed. The Father's righteousness wasn't revealed until Messiah. It was never revealed to anyone, not a single soul, until Messiah forward. The Father's righteousness was revealed and is being revealed by those who believe, and is not being revealed today by those that don't believe. But it began in Messiah, though it was never revealed to anyone before Messiah. These things were kept hidden from the ages past, like we read from of old. It was not given, it was kept hidden. This is also proving that man cannot do any good of himself. If he could do it, he would have done it by now. It's never happened of so. And if Messiah himself can do nothing, how much more true is it for anyone else? They can't do anything either. Messiah could do nothing of himself. What we could do something of ourselves, that's a lie. It's the lie the world sells. You are your own God. You could do anything and everything. It creates its own carnal definition of what that means. It creates its own proof that proves the lie is true. Makes it all up of itself, all made up, all lies. Getting a literal job does not prove someone did something of their own power. It's not the understanding, and it proves nothing. And even that's given. Even that's a lie, that someone just did it of themselves. Unbelievers have no clue how much the Father's done even for unbelievers. They have no clue how anything works. That's what we're supposed to learn and find out and do, is to know the truth and believe it. All the difference in the world, in the heart. And the true blessings don't come unless his good works are done. But a world that has created its own definition of blessings, now it can make itself look righteous, like it's blessed, because it created a definition that makes sure it's blessed. Okay, I got this, I got that. Well, now you just make it up. If I have this and this and this, that means I'm blessed. Yep, I'm blessed. Just made it up, conforming to its own heart and what it has. Changing it like the wind whenever it needs to. Whenever it's exposed or feels threatened, changes up what it believes all the time, all over the place, tossed by every wind of doctrine, never firm, never sane. How shameful and embarrassing for the builders that the things that they were building, they rejected. What on earth are they building for then if they rejected the purpose? So the builders rejected the cornerstone, like we read. They're not the true builders. They're building their own things for themselves, for their own gain, for their own pride, for their own glory. Whoever builds the house on a rock, it's going to stand, and it's going to be able to stand when a storm comes. If the storms come to test everything, to see what it's made of, and if it's not made of the Father's things, it's fall. And that storm's going to knock that house down, and great will be its fall. Calamity strikes, and someone goes in serious destruction when it comes hard and heavy. It's been coming to every generation, to every soul that does evil. Wrath, anguish, trouble for every soul that does evil right now. And the calamity is going to come, or it already has more than once in people's lives. Calamity is going to strike everyone that doesn't believe, and it's going to make them fall, stay falling hard, tripping in the night constantly because of not able to see, using darkness for its own advantage to deceive people and hide sins, thinking it can hide. Using darkness for that purpose. What do believers have to do? Rest. Not do any works in the night. Rest. Sleep. Only doing works in the daylight, as Messiah taught. His Father has been working and I have been working, he said. After something about the Sabbath, and then the Pharisees get highly offended and fill up with murderous wrath because what Messiah said just sounds like it totally contradicts the Sabbath, because they don't know what it means and never kept it a day in their life, and Messiah is keeping it every day by doing the Father's works and resting from his own works. He's keeping it every day. They don't know what it means. It has to be given. No one knows what it means first. It has to be given. I have been working, my Father has been working. Doesn't that sound like it contradicts Sabbath, which is resting from works? Speaking of the Father's works, that's always supposed to be done. That is the point. Rest from our works to do the Father's works every day. That's the works he speaks of, but the Pharisees are blind and can't see. And they just heard words of working, and they want to condemn him and say he breaks the Sabbath. They broke the Sabbath every day. They never kept it a day in their life. That's the truth. Carnal man doesn't keep the Sabbath. He always does his own works, which is breaking the Sabbath rest. Messiah was dead during what would be the seventh day, the Sabbath day. The whole entire day and night, resting. Through death, Messiah teaches we live in him. Resting from our works, dying to self, dying to the old man. Entering his rest is to continue to be dead and sleep during the night. Don't work at night. Spiritual works, don't work at night. Messiah is not speaking of carnality. My words are spirit, he said. Flesh profits nothing. Won't be able to do any good. Flesh works, flesh understanding. Profits nothing. His words are spirit and life. The truth is simple, but it has to be given. But even though it's given, then someone can see and learn that they never did it before, and see that how it takes work and it's difficult. Power is needed to be given to do actual good, to do the Father's works. So then that contrast exists. You can start seeing what the evil is and that we never did it. We never did good. You start seeing that contrast only after doing some good first. There's no other way to see it. Someone's never done any good works. They don't know what it is yet. They only do bad, evil works. There's no contrast in their heart. Can't see. No believer saw before believing either. But if someone is doing the Father's good works now, then now there's a contrast. And that grows bigger, more true. But nevertheless, there's a contrast to see what the evil was, how it works, what was being done versus the good now. Seeing that the evil is very, very easy to do and takes nothing. It takes the Father's power to do good. It takes zero power to do evil. Follow your heart. Follow your dreams and your imaginations. Have they ever read about man's dreams and imaginations that it's wicked? Have they ever read any scriptures about dreamers? Dreams are delusions. It's a giant image that isn't real and has nothing to do with reality. Chasing dreams. Chasing dreams constantly means you're never in reality. It means you're in a delusion every day. Even the world mocks the American dream through their entertainment. Yes, it does. Seen it too many times. Even the devil mocks that this is a fake, fraudulent thing and a lie. American dream. Or whatever dream. Mocks its own self. That's a giveaway too for something being false. When the devil mocks it, it's pretty apparent what it really is. Takes pride in its sin, but then if someone is given truth, they fill up with rage. But they could speak about their sin. They could sing about it because they're not actually speaking truth or acknowledging sin. It's a delusion. It's hard to put into words what this is. Someone could sing and make millions of dollars about their sins and take pride in it, but if a believer showed up and spoke to them, they would want to murder every believer for saying the same words that they sung about. They would want to murder you because when they sing it, they're in a delusion. They don't believe they're in sin. They don't know what that sin is. They don't see it. It's just a delusion, taking pride in wickedness and pitying self all the time, pitying self because it's in debt. It has to pity itself. Part of the strong judgment for sin. When someone's in extra destruction, they don't want anyone around them. They want to pity themselves, drive everyone else away. Everything it does is backwards and destruction. Adam does no good. That's why the apostle says, I don't find it in me, in my flesh, to do any. I don't find the ability to do it. Cannot actually do the good. Can't find it within himself to do the good. To see it, to want to, and can't do it. Can't do it. Because those words are going to be true, that of ourself we could do nothing. And you, all people, anyone that believes can do nothing without Messiah. And the apostle is saying the same teaching in a different way, that he has no confidence in his flesh, himself. And he doesn't find a way to perform what is good within his own members concerning the old man, who he is, who everyone is in Adam, cannot perform the good. It has to come from above. So it's a miracle to do good. It's the Father's good work. It's a literal miracle because billions of people aren't doing any of it. A miracle. It's power. But to the enemy, it's nothing. He doesn't believe in the Father's power. We read to turn away from those that don't believe in the Father's power. And those who deny his power, turn away from them. Turn away from such that don't believe his power. Deny his power for real in the heart, and it's denial of everything. It's denial of the Creator and all good to deny his power. How is it not? How could someone believe in the Creator and deny all his power and not actually believe in it at all? To deny the Creator himself and everything. That's why we read to turn away from someone that that does deny his power, because that's an unbeliever. That's an enemy that wants to do evil, that will do evil. It's not possible to be a true believer that denies his power completely. Not possible. It's not possible to serve two masters. Everyone is serving one or the other, period. No one is doing what they sell in the lukewarm Godland pride in the middle, making up some impossible scenario, straddling both sides. It's not possible. Someone hates the Creator and loves money, or they hate the love of money, and they hate money in that way and loves the Creator, one of the two. No one serves two masters for real. Cannot serve two masters. Which one? One or the other. Money, self, the enemy, or the Creator. One or the other. The Elohim of this world, or true Elohim, the true Creator. Not the false Creator that didn't create anything in reality, but wants to sell that he does. One of those ways is saying that the enemy created evil, because to create something is to be the Creator. So then, Christianity believes the devil is the true Creator because he created something. What's the truth? He created nothing. You can only take the truth and mix it and twist it and reverse it. Didn't create anything. The Creator is alone created everything. The enemy created nothing. Zero. Sells that, he does, though. See it through doctrines. You create something, you're a creator. So they say he created evil. Yet the devil's the creator of the heavens and earth. To them, your father's the devil, Messiah said. You don't know the Father, your father's the devil. Now everybody that would hear those words of truth would want to murder the one saying it, without a doubt. If it's true, it's going to make someone rage. Because the truth makes the enemy rage, because it hates truth above all things. It hates the Creator and his truth above all things. If it's true, someone will hate it. That's not of him. They don't hear his words. His people hear Messiah's voice and follow him. And strangers they do not hear. They do not follow a stranger. I think that might be it. Most assuredly, truly, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and those who hear will live. For the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son to have life in himself. He has given him authority, to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this. What are people going to do? Marvel. It says, don't marvel at it. Marvel and do the marveling with this here is to be an unbeliever, to not believe. Do not marvel at this, for the hour is coming in which all who are in the graves will hear his voice and come forth. Those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation, judgment. I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own will, but the will of the Father who sent me. Yet again, we read again elsewhere, okay, I can do myself, I can do nothing. If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. There is another who bears witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnesses of me is true. I do not receive testimony from man, but I say these things that you may be saved. For the works which the Father has given me to finish, the very works that I do bear witness of me, that the Father has sent me. That's the actual truth that the world won't believe. Doing the Father's works is the proof of the Creator. proof of Messiah, proof of his truth. It is already the proof. The very works that I do bear witness of me that the Father has sent me, and the Father himself who sent me has testified of me. You have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his form. Telling the unbelievers they've never known the Father, never have seen him, they've never known him, they've never worshipped him at any time. That's the truth. Someone want to say it's the opposite, that this is a lie? Well, they can go on ahead, but I would like to hear what they say it means then. What on earth does it mean then? Messiah's words and truth is not something anyone in the world loves. They can't love it. They have to hate it. That's what he is saying. You people have never heard his voice at any time nor seen his form. Messiah was hearing from the Father every day and sees the Father every day. Pharisees don't see, religion don't see, the world don't see, unbelievers don't see. But you do not have his word abiding in you, because whom he sent, him you do not believe. You search the scriptures, for in them you think you have age abiding life, and these are they which testify of me. But you are not willing to come to me that you may have life. I do not receive honor from men, but I know you, that you do not have the love of Elohim in you. Strong words. I know you. You don't have the love of Elohim in you. None. I have come in my Father's name, and you do not receive me. If another comes in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe who receive honor from one another and do not seek the honor that comes from the only Elohim? Yes, it's no wonder the wolves want to kill, steal, and destroy. They have been utterly exposed by the light, by truth, without doing any evil, because the light doesn't do evil to expose wickedness and darkness. But wickedness does wickedness when it exposes wickedness by ripping someone's clothes off, making them look naked so that it looks like they expose evil. But they do evil and don't expose evil. They only look like it by tearing someone's clothes off and pointing the finger and saying, you're wicked. I found sin. I found nakedness. I found a splinter in you. It does it out of an evil heart. But light doesn't expose wickedness out of an evil heart. It just does, just is. Wherever light is, the darkness is exposed. And it doesn't rip off someone's clothes and want evil for them, to condemn them, to throw them down and trash them and murder them. Light doesn't do that to darkness. It does the true exposing because it's light. It's what light does. There's no evil in it. But the enemy has to create the image of exposing, and the only way an enemy can do what believers actually do for real is do evil to make it look like they do that. They have to rip someone's clothes off. They walked backwards, except the one that didn't walk backwards, but he laughed at Noah. What was the judgment? A strong judgment for laughing at someone's sin, wanting to see them in destruction. Strong judgment. That's what the wicked do. They have to make someone else be exposed out of an evil heart to raise themselves up and shine like a light. But there is no light. It just looks like it. It's just a masquerading light. So everyone's digging, reporters with cameras everywhere, like hungry wolves, like vultures, pigs even. Heard you did this, heard you did that, heard you did this. Tell me, what do you want to do? Tell me what you did. Tell me. Reveal all your sins so I could put it on the news and proclaim it everywhere so I could destroy your image because I'm wicked. Because I'm a murderer and utter destruction. And I make money for my wickedness. Everyone doing that work is utterly destroyed. That's why they're doing it. It's proof that they're destroyed. They're doing works of destruction, trying to destroy others because they're destroyed. It's who Adam is of himself, a destroyer, because he's destroyed. And after Eve is destroyed for sin, she needs to want to destroy Adam because she's destroyed. Wants to hand over the works, the fruit to Adam so that Adam sins, but she comes in the name of a gift, in the image of a gift, in the image of good and light, in the image of care and love. But it wants to secretly destroy Adam from her heart for real. The image is just a lie, a trick so that you could do evil to someone. It looks good so that it can do evil to someone, and if it's spotted, it can always go back to its image. That's why it also creates the image of good. In case someone calls them out, they'll always have the image to call back to and say, how dare you say that? Can't you see what I actually did and said? I said I love you. I said I did this. I created the image of good. How dare you? And everyone around them will believe that image that's in sin over the truth, over the light exposing that darkness. They will believe the image and worship it and cast out the truth like dung and murder it. Every single time when it's a true light in the darkness, it doesn't apply for unbelievers to unbelievers. There's no light to expose anything. When true light is near, darkness, all around that light will worship the darkness and the image of the beast over the truth. There has to be light in order to say that there's truth somewhere. If it's darkness, there's no truth there. It doesn't apply. Hitler doesn't expose another Hitler. Both do wickedness. But when there's a true light which reveals the truth and sees through the image for what its heart is really doing, then they will worship that image, that false image. They will side with the enemy over the truth every single time without fail. The world will not have a believer's back. And if they were to, if they tried to, they're going to get persecuted. And that's not what they want. No, they don't. They'll go against you in a heartbeat. Betray and ditch in a heartbeat to save its own soul and save its skin in this world. For saving it, it's being destroyed anyway, so it's not saving it for real. Just thinks it is. He who saves his soul shall be destroying it. So people are spiritually saving their soul every day, trying to hide their sins, and they're being destroyed for it anyways. Why not believe and acknowledge the truth then, since everyone's being destroyed anyways for sin, for lying, for trying to hide it when it can't be hidden. Can't be hidden now, and it's going to be revealed utterly in the ages to come. How foolish will that be in full? It's already foolish, but how foolish will it be also? No one can hide from the Creator. There's no reality to that. He sees every single thought, every single work in the heart is seen in the secret place, let alone out in the open. Sees it, someone hiding in a rock somewhere. Doesn't matter. He sees it. We read that the night is like the day. The darkness is like light to him. Concerning this, there's no difference. He sees it just as easily through the night as in the day. The darkness is like day to him. There's no hiding at all, zero. But that's a separate teaching from light being good and darkness evil, and these two can't be one. And light is not darkness, and darkness is not light. Good is not evil, and evil is not good. But in that scripture there, it's something separate. In this scripture here, the light is the darkness, because it's showing that the darkness doesn't hide anything from him. It's like the light. It contradicts with the letters. It doesn't contradict with what it means. So somewhere we read light can't be one with darkness. He separates light from darkness. Light is not darkness, and darkness is not light. We'll read. And elsewhere we'll read the light is like the darkness, or the darkness is like light, because it's something separate, separate understanding, separate teaching, separate, divided rightly divided. It's bringing out that he sees. That's what it's different. It's not the same thing. So then the letters could contradict all day long. Doesn't mean anything. Just looks like it contradicts. Is it for real? That has to be discerned. My Messiah is doing the Father's works, not his own works. He's resting from his. It's the teaching. It's the meaning, resting from our works. For this reason, the Jews persecuted Yehoshua and sought to kill him. Because he had done these things on the Sabbath. But Yehoshua answered them, my Father has been working until now, and I have been working. Therefore the Jews sought all the more to kill him, because he not only broke the Sabbath, but also said that Elohim was his father, making himself equal with Elohim. No, he's not. How stupid is this? Have they ever read? What does the religion think? What does sons of Elohim mean? Don't they read that? Many sons. Anyone that believes for real is a son of Elohim. So what? Believers make themselves equal with the Creator? Nonsense. Evil. It's not. That is not what Messiah did. That's their accusation. Blind. They are that. They are in that pride, not Messiah, not a son of Elohim. That's their accusation, that he broke the Sabbath. It says because he not only broke the Sabbath, but also said that Elohim was his father, making himself equal with Elohim. He didn't break the Sabbath. That's their accusation. It's what they say, trying to find sin on him. They broke the Sabbath. They are equal with the Creator in their own heart. They are full-blown pride. They are every accusation they are making. They are themselves. Messiah didn't make himself equal with the Creator. It's incredible pride. What's Messiah's answer after this accusation? Most assuredly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself. Do they know why he's saying that? No clue. They just accused him of breaking Sabbath and making himself equal with the Creator. Messiah's answer, truly I say to you, the Son of Man can do nothing of himself. Doing nothing of self is equal with the Creator who can do all things. Messiah able to do nothing of himself is making himself equal with the Creator. Well, so they say. Truly I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in him who sent me has age of abiding life and shall not come into judgment, but has passed from death into life. Man was already in death. He was already under the judgment and condemnation in death. These words are true for those who truly believe, not fake belief. This is a promise for those that believe. Whoever hears my word and believes in him who sent me has age abiding life, shall not come into death, judgment, but pass from death into life. He also says right after, I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is. When did it begin? Is. Was, is, and is to come. Was through the natural, it is now, and it is to come. But it began when Messiah said it. He was the first. The hour is coming, and now is. It's both. It's coming and it is. But it already is back then. What is? When the dead will hear the voice of the Son of Elohim. Those who hear will live. Spiritual dead to come to life. Awake, O sleepers, from death. Man doesn't have this life. He's in death. All of creation's in death that doesn't believe. Messiah is speaking of the true life. It's true for those that really believe in their heart. Not say they believe, not pretend to believe, but believe for real with their heart. He does not seek his own will, but the will of the Father who sent me, he says. When did Messiah seek his own will? He didn't. He did not seek his own will. Adam always seeks his own will and never seeks the Father's will. The natural man, the first Adam, never seeks the Father's will, only seeks self's will. Well, that way is death. Read already, he does not receive honor from men. That means he literally doesn't receive honor from men. It's not just empty words. It means he does not receive honor from men. People's hearts, real people, do not honor him, and he does not receive it from men. That's what it means. He really doesn't. Does not receive honor from men. It actually means something real, and it's not a delusion. It's not empty words. That means in real life, people, anyone in unbelief, believer does not receive honor, just as Messiah does not receive honor from men. The wicked receive honor from men. Worldly people in and of the world receive honor from the world. Worldly unbelievers receive honor from the world. Praise, honor, glory from men, people. Messiah didn't. I think that's it. And if someone doesn't want life, then it has to just be so. Then leave them be. Let them alone, like Messiah said, leave them alone. Can't force them, can't condemn them, can't do anything evil. Someone doesn't want life, they don't want to believe, they don't want life, well, let it be so then. Let the filthy be filthy still. Let the unrighteous be unrighteous still. Let the righteous be righteous still. Let the holy be holy still, set apart. One or the other. Good fish, bad fish, good or evil, light or dark, righteous, unrighteous. Set apart, not set apart. There's no middle thing concerning this. One or the other. All right, that's it, I believe. Peace, take care, seek truth from above.